So Weinstein, and then Rogan a few months later, and that got you more eyeballs and exposure, and then more.
Yeah, supposedly Rogan went to 100 million. I've heard
on Spotify, downloads and views and that kind of
and Google.
I remember I was very surprised to hear him interview you, and I listened to that whole thing, and I thought to myself, it's about goddamn time that Rogan started using his platform to talk about these issues. And
before
I thought
that,
he was a year late.
Credit where credit's due. He did Peter McCullough.
Yeah, true. I remember that. That was good. That was good.
Peter was very focused on the data.
This is early 21, mid 21.
Mid, I think.
Mid, yeah.
It was like a month before
it was a year
my
late, but still.
Yeah, it was fall.
It
was fall of 21, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
And then he had me on as kind of bookends. And then he had this, I forget his name, and I'm embarrassed. He's based in the UK, that spoke about the WEF. Is kind of like the third chapter in that series.
Okay.
In the role of the World Economic Forum and in all of the shenanigans that have gone on. Yeah, so it went big, and I said a bunch of things just in a matter of fact. I knew them to be true. I was right at the front lines working with a bunch of docs. At that point, we had the 17,000 physicians, and there was a petition run through Scripps Clinic in La Jolla, in part. It was like 50 mixture of physician trainees and technicians, and they were touted as 50 doctors were saying that the Joe Rogan hit should be pulled down, that it was disinformation. One of the leaders of that was actually kind of one of the anointed by social media and LinkedIn and MedPage Today, I think, voices on promoting the vaccine. And so he was saying that these things that I had said, which were contrary to what he'd been saying, should not be allowed to be spoken. And then in particular, mass formation psychosis just triggered both the people that were involved in the nudge technology here in the UK and Google and much of Silicon Valley, which I find fascinating still, because they're the ones guilty of driving this phenomena. Right. And notably, I think it was in the Daily Mail, there was an article out here in the UK saying that mass formation psychosis is not a thing, it was entirely made up. Malone has come up with this. It's not in the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, which for psychology and psychopathology, because that's all about individuals, not groups. But all this talk about how this is just a made-up thing, and Malone doesn't know what he's talking about, that completely ignores this huge body of literature of Just Malors and Sigmund Freud and Hannah Arendt, and Matthias's work is really just a 21st century update of Hannah Arendt's work about, I'll say it again, Nazi Germany, and what happened there. And the article I think it was the Daily Mail, it was the Guardian, one or the other, was citing an academic here from the UK who was making all these statements that this was pure fallacy and invented. And when you hunted down his background, the person being interviewed and making these statements, it turns out he was one of the leading researchers at the Nudge Unit. And so he was directly involved in doing exactly the stuff that was basically being exposed. The whole thing has just been a bizarre journey. And then Google, Steve Kirsch, to his credit, captured in real time as Google manually manipulated the results of people searching for mass formation psychosis. I had learned the term from a podcaster that was one of the first to interview Matthias Desmet. I actually did a hit with him like last week in Miami, and we talked about this. So he had used the term mass formation psychosis in his podcast title, which is where I'd got it from. Google made it so that any of those prior podcasts or my talks about mass formation psychosis that had also gone viral before that couldn't be found. And only there was one obscure solo podcast of somebody criticizing it that it had like 150 views or something. That was what would be allowed to come up on the Google searches. And now, if you try to find that Spotify broadcast,
the one on Rogan.
On the Rogan, you can't search it. You cannot find it from Google. And if you go to the Spotify search engine and you search Rogan and Malone, you will never find it. You have to have the knowledge of the specific number of that Rogan hit. I mean, the whole thing, the memory holing, a term coined by George Orwell in 1984, is the power of that is profound. And the exact, so what they would do as this was happening in real time is they would give the search query a splash screen that would say, these results are changing quickly, check back soon. That was exactly the same splash screen that Google put up after the Project Veritas drop on Pfizer, when people tried to Google Veritas and Pfizer or the name of the young gentleman, they would get exactly that same Google splash screen, which apparently is their default when they're manually manipulating search results.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. Hey, it's Brian Rose, founder of the DeFi Academy. I've told you my 4-week crypto bootcamp is amazing, but don't take my word for it. This is what my students are saying.
The DeFi Academy was an amazing experience for me. It took me totally out of my comfort zone.
In this course, I was challenged, I was held accountable, and pushed to do things that honestly weren't always easy.
It's been phenomenal, and I can't believe we're already up on our 4 weeks. It has flown by.
Going through this DeFi accelerator by far was one of the best courses I've taken.
You do this course, you really get into the nitty-gritty of the activities that will make you comfortable with decentralized finance.
Thank you so much to Brian and everyone at London Real and the DeFi Academy for even putting together an amazing course like this.
Anybody else that wants to do it, please sign up. It is well worth the money.